Hey everybody, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. So, tonight, I'd like to talk about two of the smallest and classical characters from the Disney gang, Chip and Dale. First debuting in 1943 in the animated short Private Pluto, Chip and Dale are two comical chipmunk brothers who are known for their high-pitched speech, gluttonous appetites, and penchant for mischief, typically at the expense of others. Chip can be identified by his black chocolate chip nose and his joined front teeth, whereas Dale has a larger red nose, two adjacent front teeth, and a tuft of hair on top of his head. Also, Chip is the more logical and cunning of the two, with Dale being more dim-witted and carefree. Plus, I think these two are a lot more memorable and classical compared to Ross Bagdasarian Sr.'s Alvin and the Chipmunks. Though the duo got their start as adversaries to Mickey Mouse's pet dog Pluto, they would become even more infamous as arch rivals to Donald Duck, beginning with the 1947 theatrical short Chip and Dale. In the years that followed, Chip and Dale became some of Disney's most beloved characters. They were even popular enough to receive their own, albeit short-lived series of shorts. They became gummy engineers in the Kingdom Hearts game series, and of course, they received greater exposure in the 1990s with the premiere of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, which saw the Chipmunks as a comedic pair of crime solvers along with several friends like Monterey Jack, Gadget Hackwrench, and Zipper. By the way, during my childhood, when I started watching the Disney Channel in the mid-1990s, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers became one of my favorite animated TV shows next to Darkwing Duck, Tailspin, Goof Troop, Gummy Bears, Aladdin, and the Little Mermaid TV series. And to me, this series was a lot of fun and very zany, and it contained several memorable villains like the mafia-style Tabby Cat, Fat Cat, and mad scientist Norton Nimnall. Plus, I think Tad Stones and Alan Zazglub did a great job putting this show together, and the theme song by Jeff Pescatto is absolutely catchy and classical. Also to note, the series influenced a roller coaster in Mickey's Toontown, which started out as Gadget's Go Coaster, but after the area went through a year-long construction period, it was renamed to Chip and Dale's Gadget Coaster. And I just hope that me and my buds can give this modified ride a chance, just like we did with the new amazing Mickey Mouse ride, which opened a couple months ago. Oh, by the way, last year, not only did Chip and Dale's series get a complete Blu-ray release, but it also gained a movie on Disney Plus, which is what I'll be blogging tonight. So, released at Disney Plus on May 20th, 2022, the movie is Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Now, on for the plot of the movie. It's been over 30 years since the end of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, and Chip and Dale are currently living a life of mediocrity in a world where humans and cartoon characters live together. Meanwhile, traditionally animated characters are doing their best to live in a world of remakes and reboots with realistic computer graphics. And now, the duo must renew their partnership and bring the gang back together to try and save their friend and teammate Monterey Jack from a fate worse than death: video piracy. So, what do I personally think of the movie? Well, to be quite honest, I was a bit skeptical after seeing the first trailer, but after seeing the movie with my sister, it was actually pretty entertaining. And to understand why I like the movie, let's move on to Mustang notes. Now, on January 31st, 2014, it was announced that the Walt Disney Company was developing a live-action movie based on the Rescue Rangers series with CGI special effects, similar to 20th Century Fox's Alvin the Chipmunks film series. David Hoberman and Todd Lieberman signed on as its producers. In May 2019, Akiva Schaffer, known for the 2007 cult classic Hot Rod, became the film's new director, replacing Robert Rugen, while Dan Greger and Doug Mand became its new writers, and claimed that the movie would follow a meta something self-referential and cool take on the characters. David Hoberman and Todd Lieberman returned as its producers, and the project became a co-production between Walt Disney Pictures and Mandeville Films. Greger and Mann had started the new script as a spiritual successor to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, taking into account the changes in animation techniques in the 4 decades since Roger Rabbit had been made. They wanted to keep what they felt made Roger Rabbit successful, being that the film is not talking down to the animated characters and playing it real to the top of your intelligence. Director Schaffer said they were further influenced by buddy cop films of the 1990s, such as the Lethal Weapon series, while including more comedic elements. Fun fact, Akiva Schaffer agreed to direct the movie due to the film's self-referential humor, along with his love for both the original series and Roger Rabbit, and an interest in working on animated films. The film features cameos from several non-Disney animated properties due to Schaffer wanting the movie to be a love letter celebration of animation, similar to Roger Rabbit, and felt including only Disney characters would instead make the film just a celebration of Disney animation. Schaffer did not want to go overboard on such cameos, going by the rule, don't put in a cameo unless it's forwarding the story or putting a button on a really good laugh. Also, Schaffer assured non-Disney companies that the movie was not going to make fun of their characters before they authorized their characters to appear in the film through Disney's legal team. Principal photography commenced on March 16, 2021 in Los Angeles with Larry Fong as cinematographer. Filming lasted for about 30 to 35 days. Both visual effects for the film and several characters' animations were provided by Moving Picture Company, or MPC for short. While there are numerous hand-drawn animated characters shown as minor roles, MPC provided computer animation for the Rescue Rangers and Sweet Pete, while giving them a cel-shaded look to appear hand-drawn for time and budget. MPC had also done the animation work for the Sonic the Hedgehog movies and were able to provide the model for Ugly Sonic once it was cleared for use. For Roger Rabbit's cameo at the start of the movie, one of the animators from Who Framed Roger Rabbit was brought on to animate the character. Animation services were also provided by Passion Pictures. Also to note, the ponies from My Little Pony Friendship is Magic were done by Top Draw Animation, who animated them for the series and the 2017 movie. Director Schaffer said that the animation budget was an eighth of what like a Pixar or a Disney animated film would be, and that it accounted for half the film's total cost. Also, other characters who show up in the film include E.T., the Three Little Pigs, Clarabelle Cow, Pete, Darkwing Duck, Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast, Baloo from the 2016 Jungle Book film, Batman from the DC Extended Universe, He-Man from Masters of the Universe, Scrooge McDuck from DuckTales, Carpet from Aladdin, The Little House from 1952, Winchell and Duncan from Wreck-It Ralph, including Fat Cat, Professor Numnull, Wart, and Nips from the original series. Now, to me, this film really surprised me while watching it on Disney Plus with my sister. Not only does the live action settings and cinematography look great, But I also think the characters, whether being hand-drawn, CGI, puppets, or motion capture, are very well detailed, and a lot of them pay a very sweet homage to films that many viewers love to watch. As for the story, well, despite a few writing errors, I thought it was pretty cool. Not only does it involve a brotherly detective story, but it also involves remakes, reboots, and video piracy. Plus, I think this movie is a way better film than the live-action Chipmunky quadrilogy. Plus, my favorite scene in the film is the chase scene at the FanCom, and I also like the moments where several of Chip and Dale's episodes are mentioned and referenced. And that's all I got for Mustang notes. So, let's move on to the film's cast. Let's begin with the film's lead characters, Chip and Dale, voiced by John Mulaney and Andy Samberg. In this film, following their breakup, Chip became a risk-averse and bitter salesman for an insurance company, while Dale has been making a living with fan convention appearances, and he received a CGI surgery to remain relevant with the times. To me, like in the TV series and in the Disney cartoons, Chip is heroic, intelligent, and somewhat bossy, while Dale is lazy, laid back, accidental prone, and easy to get along with. Plus, I like that he keeps tons of Rescue Ranger merchandise in his garage. Also, I find it pretty interesting that Trez MacNeille and Corey Burton sometimes voice the Chipmunk duo whenever they get angry or whenever they're portraying their television counterparts. Still, the only thing I nitpick about them is their childhood backstory where they met in elementary school and became best friends, which contradicts much of their actual history in films and television outside of Rescue Rangers, and the fact that Walt Disney made them brothers during their creation in the late 40s. Next we have Monterey Jack, voiced by Eric Bana, who played Bruce Banner in the 2003 Hulk movie, and he voiced Anchor in Pixar's Finding Nemo. Monty is an Australian mouse who comes from a family of travelers, and while he has an easygoing and fun-loving nature, Monty also becomes very distracted by his addiction to cheese, which puts him in a trance-like state known as a cheese attack upon smelling it. During this movie, after the end of the Rescue Rangers series, Monty fell in with Sweet Pete's Uncanny Valley gang, and he got involved with mockbuster production in the underworld. However, his love of cheese eventually led to him racking up a debt, which would be paid by him being turned into a bootleg of another tune. Next we come to Gadget Hackwrench and Zipper, voiced by Trez MacNeille and Dennis Haysbert. In the original series, Gadget was an inventive mouse who built lots of creative contraptions for the Rescue Rangers, and Zipper was a housefly and Monty's closest friend. In this film, after the team disbanded, Gadget and Zipper got married, and they raised numerous housefly-mouse hybrid offspring. The two are then settled down into a quieter life, with Gadget working at an auto shop and Zipper working as a stay-at-home father. Also to note, Corey Burton provides Zipper's buzzing sounds during flashback onset scenes. As for the other characters, we have Captain S. Putty, voiced by J.K. Simmons, whom was J. Jonah Jameson from several Spider-Man related films, Klaus, along with DreamWorks' Megamind, Kung Fu Panda 3, and of course Disney's Zootopia. Putty is a Gumby-esque claymation police captain of the LA district. To me, Putty is a short-tempered and dutiful police officer who takes his job very seriously, and he gets easily agitated when any minor inconvenience stymies him. Also, being made of clay, Putty can stretch his limbs, flatten himself, get split apart, reform, as well as shapeshift, disassemble, and regenerate his body. However, at the same time, he's also very manipulative and mischievous to a certain degree when he's later revealed to be on the Toon bootlegging scheme. Next we have Ellie Steckler, played by Kiki Lane, whom I remember from Coming to America. Ellie is a young LAPD police officer who wishes to prove herself useful to the force following a bad lead. To me, Ellie is pretty similar to Eddie Valiant from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, as both of them are private detectives who work in the law enforcement for Toons in animated / live action hybrid films. Except that, unlike Eddie Valiant, who hated Toons due to the death of his brother, Ellie is the complete opposite, as she is shown to be a huge fan of Chip and Dale and their TV show, due to them being the inspiration behind her wanting to join the force. Plus, she's also, in a way, similar to Miranda Wright from Bonkers, as both of them are female police officers who work alongside animated Toon characters. Next, we come to Bjornson the Cheesemonger, voiced by Keegan-Michael Key. This guy is an uncanny human chef puppet who speaks with a Swedish, Italian, Scandinavian-like accent, and he sells cheeses at his glorious kitchen. Now, I find him to be pretty similar to the Swedish chef from the Muppets, and while he acts pretty friendly when he wants to be, and he loves singing about his stinky, gooey cheeses, when Chip and Dale meet him on the charming Main Street, his friendly disposition vanishes immediately after being inquired about whether he has any stinky cheese. Also, he plays a pretty important role in getting Chip and Dale into seeing the leader of the Valley Gang, and he's also responsible for Monterey Jack's intense cheese addiction. Next on our list is Bob, played by Seth Rogen. Bob is a motion capture dwarf that gives off an unsettling vibe due to his unnaturally human appearance. To me, I find Bob to be a laid-back cartoon character who, nevertheless, takes his job under Sweet Pete very seriously. However, he can be something of a goof, and he's not that bright. Also, as his appearance implies, he is meant to be a satire at a string of films that Robert Zemeckis directed in the early 2000s, like The Polar Express and Beowulf. Plus, I thought the funniest part involving Bob is when he encounters Pumbaa from the live-action remake of The Lion King, Mantis from the Kung Fu Panda trilogy, and Bob from Monsters vs. Aliens, which serves as a reference to the fact that they all share the same voice actor. Finally, we come to Sweet Pete, aka Peter Pan, voiced by Will Arnett. In this movie, Peter is now a middle-aged man, an LA crime boss, the founder of the Valley Gang, which is comprised of various Uncanny Valley CGI toons, and he runs his own bootleg animation studio. By the way, when I first heard the name Sweet Pete, I, at first, thought it would be a version of Pete from the Disney cartoons, kind of like the Pete's from Epic Mickey. Anyway, to me, the interesting but shocking thing regarding Peter in this movie was his backstory, which is very similar to what happened to his first voice actor, Bobby Driscoll, whose acting career spiraled into decline after being terminated from Disney as he reached puberty. But instead of becoming an evil crime boss and creating bootleg films, Driscoll sadly became addicted to drugs, which led to his death in early 1968 as a result of heart failure. And now on to my final words. Overall, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers was a very entertaining movie. though not a perfect one, though. It has great cinematography, it has an engaging detective story, despite a few writing errors, a ton of memorable cameos to please every animation fan out there, as well as clever and nostalgic references to the original TV series. Plus, it also includes decent acting from both the live action and voice actors, and pretty good humor for the whole family. Also, I think director Schaefer did great with making this film a love letter celebration of animation. So, if you're fans of Chip and Dale's animated series, or if you're just animation fans like I am, then be sure to tune into Disney Plus to watch it, whether you have kids or not. And I really hope it gets released to home media in the future. As for my rating, I'll give it a 92% out of 100. Well, that's all for now. Be sure to join me next time where we look at an animated straight-to-video sequel from the 90s set on Mars. Mustang Power.